everyone, it's the Beardy Red Viking. Hope you're all good. So, the last few days I have noticed that a few of you have been getting on a thread that Metal Mickey started back at the end of last week. I've held off because I've been a bit busy. I've not had a chance to shoot my own. So I watched Metal Mickey's, but I haven't watched anyone else's yet. I will be doing that after I've got this posted. But this is my edition of 10 title tracks that are great and 5 that are not so great. So let's get started. First up is the birth of heavy metal. This was the first ever heavy metal album, and seeing as it's the first track on it, the first ever heavy metal song by the first ever heavy metal band, Black Sabbath, with Black Sabbath from the album Black Sabbath. Great album, as you will all know, and an absolutely fantastic start to the music that we all love. It's heavy, it's dark, it's haunting, it's just brilliant. It's just the perfect introduction to what we have become accustomed to and grown to love and adore over the years, and Black Sabbath continued to adapt it, move on with it, expand upon it. Not always been great, but they've always been around up until recently when they finally called it a day. They've done that a few times in the past, but we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, track 1, Black Sabbath, and it's the first ever heavy metal song, so can't go wrong with that. Next is Sepultura's Arise from the album Arise, and what can I say? I mentioned how much I love this album and Beneath the Remains, its predecessor, in my last video, and it's just great. It's just pure thrash, death metal, madness. There's melody in there, and it's just catchy as fuck. Everyone knows this song who knows Sepultura. Everyone surely loves this song who loves Sepultura. It's a great album all the way through, but for me the standout track probably would be Arise, the title track. So yeah, Sepultura, Arise. Next up is Slayer's Seasons in the Abyss from 1990. Absolutely brilliant album, brilliant song, closes out the album with a bang. It's everything you'd hope for from Slayer. It's heavy, it's got its fast parts, it's got its slow, more melodic bits, which obviously didn't exist in earlier Slayer stuff, certainly not in Rain and Blood, which I could have put in here, but technically Raining Blood isn't the title track for the album Rain in Blood. So yeah, plus it's a bit obvious, so I thought I'd go for Seasons in the Abyss. Then we've got Pantera with Cowboys from Hell from the album Cowboys from Hell. There's a theme here. This song got me into Pantera. This album got me into Pantera. I absolutely love this album. A lot of people would argue it's not their strongest. I would agree. But Cowboys from Hell is an absolute anthem. That riff, the way it just starts and builds and then breaks into that groove that we all know and love. Well, everyone that loves Pantera, which is most metalheads, I think. Not everyone, of course, but yeah, we gotta love a bit of Pantera. We gotta love Cowboys from Hell. Absolute stormer. Then we've got Entombed with Left Hand Path from the album Left Hand Path. Absolute classic Swedish death metal brilliance. First time I heard this, I was blown away by it, and I was amused by the little melodic outro towards the end of the song. Me and my mates always used to crank that up. But yeah, this is a great album, great first introduction for me to Entombed, and Left Hand Path, great album in general, but the song that opens it, Left Hand Path, the title track, is just great. I love it. It's brilliant. Not sure what this is on the back. I've always thought it looks a bit like a kebab or something. I don't know. I'm probably being a bit naive. Maybe it's inside someone's guts or something. I don't know. But to me, I've always thought it looks like a messed up, dirty doner kebab that someone's chucked on the floor at the end of a pissed up night. Anyway, that's kind of irrelevant. I just love the song and I love the album. So there we go. At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul. Again, most of these albums, there's a bit of a theme going on. The whole album is fantastic. Blinded by Fear, the opening track. Then into Slaughter of the Soul, the title track. And then it just continues, Cold Under a Serpent Sun, Into the Dead Sky. I could carry on, but really, we're talking about the title track. I just love the groove of this song, the intro riff, just kind of the whole song is built around. It's just heavy and nasty, and this album got me into death metal. I absolutely love it. I got a nice little slipcase edition back from 2002. This was reissued. Absolutely fantastic album, absolutely great song, love it. Next is Carcass with Heartwork. What can I say about this? Absolute classic, album and song. Pretty much at the foundation of melodic death metal, and it's heavy as fuck. It's so fast, that riff, the grooves, it just pounds you in the face for however many minutes. I thought it was going to tell me on here how many minutes it is. It doesn't, but it's an absolute blinder. Carcass, Heartwork. Creator and Violent Revolution. Could probably have used any Creator title track on this from most of their albums, most of their title tracks. Most of their tracks in general are generally pretty blinding, but this is the album and the song that got me into them. I first heard this in about 2002. It's the first time I'd heard Creator. My mate told me about it. He downloaded it from one of those dodgy things from back in the early 2000s, Kazaa or LimeWire or whatever it is, and just told me to check it out. Proper thrash metal at a time when we were just coming out of new metal. There was a lot of that new wave of American heavy metal stuff knocking about, metalcore, and this was completely different. It was proper thrash, proper nasty thrash, but with, again, plenty of melody, plenty of balance to it. I absolutely love this track. I absolutely love the album, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's fantastic. Creator, Violent Revolution. The penultimate track then is Opeth's Deliverance. Probably one of my favourite death metal songs of all time. From when they were still doing death metal, I still enjoy what they do now. Very different band, very different sound, but they're still fantastic. But this is the absolute peak of the powers for me. The song is about 14 minutes long, and it's just got an absolute crushing riff, crushing groove to it, and it blows me away every time I hear it. I saw them live a couple of years ago. It's still in the set, and I was very pleased to hear that it's still in the set, because it's an absolute stonker. So good, so heavy, such a militant groove. It's in your head for days afterwards. It's heavy as fuck, but it's catchy, and that for me is a perfect blend. Finally, another of my favourite bands, Mastodon, Crack the Sky. They changed themselves up a bit with this one. Obviously, prior to this, they were all about the heavy, all about the harsh vocals, and this was a change in pace, a change in sound, a lot more progressive with what they did. There was elements of progressive stuff in their earlier work, but this really took it up a notch. And the title track, along with there's a theme. Every song on every album I've mentioned, it is fantastic, but as a title track, Crack the Sky, it's a tribute to the drummer Brandaler. He lost his sister. It's a tribute to her. The title of the album, her name was Sky. It's heartfelt, it's powerful, it's melodic, it's heavy, it's beautiful. I recommend checking it out if you don't know it. But yeah, Mastodon, Crack the Sky. Right, so moving on, I had a bit of difficulty with this one because the next one is 5 crap album titles. Now, I don't tend to buy music that I don't like. I do blind buys every now and again. It doesn't always work out. If it doesn't, I don't tend to remember it. But there are a few in my collection, and generally it's because not only is the title track not great, similar thing with the albums I've just shown, great songs on great albums. This is not so good songs on not so good albums. So we've got Iron Maiden, No Prayer for the Dying. Awful album for me. The 90s stuff in general was bad. Think they've been a lot better since they've come back as a 6-piece. Some of the stuff's a bit plodding now, but this album and the title track in particular, I mean, it's all bad. Holy smoke, the video for that, Christ. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter is probably the high point of this album, and that isn't a particularly well-renowned song among Iron Maiden's fans. The title track is just a plodding, boring ballad, and that's all I've got to say on it. Iron Maiden, No Prayer for the Dying, shite. Machine Head, Supercharger. I kind of liked a bit of new metal, I'll be honest, when this came out back in 2001. It was my jam. But I can't listen to it anymore. I stuck it on just to have a listen before, and it's terrible. It's just peak Machine Head trying to be new metal. It's doing a pretty good job at it, to be honest. Awful lyrics, awful vocal performance, just awful in general. Cataclysm. Yeah. Cataclysm. In Shadows and Dust. I don't know what to say. They're just not very good in general. There's a brief period around about 2007, 2008 when I saw them at Damnation Festival. I was drunk out of my skull. I thought they were really good. I bought a couple of their albums, and they're not very good at all. So yeah, title track, it's the first track on this. It's just plodding, generic, rubbish, really, really bad death metal. Strapping Young Lad, The New Black. This was their final album in 2006. I didn't like to put this in there because I love Devin Townsend. I love Strapping Young Lad. But this is a very disappointing swan song from a great band. And the title track is no better than the rest of the album. It's probably not the worst song on the album, but it sucks. And finally, AC/DC, Black Ice. Shite. I don't know what else to say. It's just dull. It's like a watered down version of what they've been doing for 50 years or however long it is. Stop. Just stop. So that's it. That's my list. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. Please give me a subscribe. Drop your comments down below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on some of these. I'll chat to you in the comments. Thanks very much for watching. Take it easy, and I'll see you again very soon. Bearded Red Viking, out.